Hello, good morning, everyone. Once again, I welcome you to today's lesson on the part 2 of the Pilgrims, or the characters that were in Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer, or that embarked on the journey of faith to Canterbury. So what I mean by these two descriptions is that those that embarked on the journey, if you look at the people as people embarking on a journey of faith, to Canterbury Tales. To Canterbury, you are looking at them as pilgrims. But if you are looking at them as characters, then you are considering the tales, the stories that were told, and people that played roles in those stories. Now, in the part one, we looked at some very interesting characters, including the Manciple, the Oxford cleric. Today, we are going to look at another class of people, another group of people, or another group of persons that lived during Geoffrey Chaucer's time. Now, the first slide here, the introductory slide says, or I read, this presentation explores key characters from Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales. It delves into their traits, societal roles, and the author's commentary on medieval society. So here, what you have to be aware of, I did mention it in our previous lesson, but what you have to be aware of is the fact that the purpose for the vivid description of the individual persons or characters or pilgrims is to present the traits they exhibited during that time. Traits are like qualities, personalities, how someone behaves or what a person does. Then the roles they played in society. Society has always been aristocratic. Society has always had divisions among it. It is not a clear-cut division, that is, lines are not drawn or were not drawn and are still not drawn, but entering every society, you find divisions. And broadly speaking, these divisions can be subcategorized into three. The upper class, that is, the bourgeoisie or the ruling class, the first class, then we have the middle class, then the working class or the lower class. Sometimes you read in books that the working class encompasses or includes both the middle class and the lower class, the proletariats. So we are going to delve into this. Then another reason why Chaucer described these characters into detail is to present to you and I today his opinion about the kind of people that live in a society, what they are and what they ought to be, roles they are, roles that were expected of them to play, and roles that they eventually played. And today's set of characters is a very good selection that will give you into details this perception about Chaucer. The first character that I want to look at today is, so this is the table of contents. So we have the knight, who will be my first character that I will discuss with you today. Then we have the square, who is his son. We have the yeoman, the non-prioress, my favorite character, who depicts hypocrisy to the highest level to me. The monk, a very cunning character. The friar, then what a conclusive slide. Now let's delve deeper into it. The knight. So he is, or he was, a nobleman. I'll be using the present tense mostly because literature is a living language, but sometimes I'll use it in the past for your comprehension. He was a nobleman and very experienced. When we talk about experience, he's the definition of experience. And if you read the Canterbury Tale, the translated version, that is to the modern language version, I would like to read a little bit of some places for you. But nonetheless, while I have time and space before my story takes a further pace, it seems a reasonable thing to say what their conditions were, the full array of each of them, and as it appeared to me. Be careful with that, to me. So he's saying whatever he has said is his opinion, his perception, what he thought he saw, or how he interpreted what he saw. Okay, according to profession and degree, he's going to look at them, like I said, roles they are expected to play, profession, then their degree, traits, and what apparel they were riding in, what they wore, the clothes. So garment, clothes, or apparels are the same. Now let's delve into my first character. So there was a knight, a most distinguished man, who from the day on which he first began to ride abroad had followed chivalry, that is bravery. The guy is brave, truthful, honorable, generous, and courteous. These are some of his qualities specifically stated by Chaucer. That's why I wrote that he was a nobleman, an experienced warrior. Now let's get some of his experiences. So when we took Alexandra, he was there. He often sat at table in the chair of honor above all nations. This simply means that anywhere he goes to fight, he wins. A brave man. So he fought in Alexandria, he fought in Prussia, he fought in Lithuania, he fought in Russia, he fought in Granada, he fought the Algeciras, he fought in a lot of wars, and he fought in North Africa. And in all these wars, he never lost any of them. So when I say he was an experienced warrior, you should understand. He fought bravely in many battles across Europe and beyond. He was he's a loyal person, or he was loyal. Like I mentioned, his qualities: he was courteous, he was generous, he was honorable, he was truthful. So this is truly a noble man. Now, he didn't dress gantily. That is, he didn't dress in a flashy manner. He just wore something very simple, but what he wore sends a message about him as an individual. So he wore just like a leather dress, if you could put it that way, and he was he looked classy in his own way as a warrior. That is what you should know about him. But he was a brave man. Just know that the knight was truly a brave man, and he wasn't so much of um, a dual character, but he stuck to his gun. But one thing that you should start asking yourself, if you are a deep thinker, is someone who was involved in so many wars, which obviously involves killing people, and now embarking on a journey of faith. Today's perception of faith, today's perception of Christianity or expression of one faith, you question his commitment, you question his genuinity here. There's an irony here for you to look at. But all the same, he was a great man. Now, closely related to him, or who moved with him, was his son, the squire. A squire is like a junior warrior that is learning how to fight, or the art of war, the art of battle. So the knight's son was with him, that's the squire, and he was around 20 years old. He was an apprentice knight, like I mentioned. An apprentice knight here simply means he's learning the art of war to take over from his father. But unlike his father, he had other interests, or interest. That is, something else interests him aside fighting in battles, winning battles, and being classified or being respected as a very brave man. He had his own interests. He was skilled in singing, in dancing, and in writing poetry. So you realize that he has so much interest in creativity, in the creative art industry. Now, this is also another strange thing, or there's a bone of contention here. What he ought to do, that is, learn from his father and take over from his father when his father is no more, and what he wants to do, that is, write songs, sing them to lavish of people, write poems and read them out, engage in dances anywhere he goes. So he's torn between these two, and I think this is still a normal thing among the youth of today. He's 20 years, don't forget. So it's still a normal thing among the youth of today, where our parents desire a certain career path for us, whilst we also desire another one. And it becomes serious when what we desire is seen as by our parents as something that might not lead to anything fruitful, like him. Learn and become a warrior like me, fight in wars and get respected. And I want to be writing poems, writing songs, singing songs, and dancing. I don't think it will sit well with his father, but that is him. That's what he has interest in. Then he dresses fashionably to impress ladies. Oh, he's a ladies' man. He loves the ladies and dresses to impress them. That's another key thing about him too. That contradicts, or that is in direct contrast with his father. His father dresses nobly but doesn't care about other things. I think most warriors are more focused on their battles and strategies than on the world or on people to impress people in the world. But this guy is different. So that tells you that becoming a warrior is not something that he wants to be. Aside this, at least he did take some things from his father. He's courteous, he's humble, he's eager to serve and learn from his father. And that is about the junior knight or the squire. Now, let's talk about the yeoman. A yeoman is a servant, someone who has a master and serves the master. Now, a knight of that pedigree that I spoke to you about should obviously have a servant at his beck and call that he could call on as and when he needs him. And this is called a yeoman. So, knight, servant, and personal bodyguard. He's supposed to be a bodyguard. So, a man as brave as the knight still has a bodyguard to protect him. Sometimes it's because sometimes when these brave people win certain wars or attain certain level of success or victory, they tend to celebrate. And one of the best ways that they know how to celebrate is to engage in drinking, excessive drinking of alcohol. So they become drunk, they go beyond being tipsy, they become drunk. And when they get drunk, they become a bit vulnerable. So they need someone to stay on guard and protect them. And that's the job of the yeoman. But this guy seems to have other interests or other interests. Let me put it that way. I think it's other interests or other acts that interest him a lot. He is a professional in forestry. He goes to hunt, goes into the forest, and he has interest in that. Now, there was a yeoman with him at his side, no other servant. So he chose to ride. So this is the only servant he came with to the inn. It doesn't mean that's the only servant he has. This yeoman wore a coat and hood of green and peacock feathered arrows, bright and keen. Now, one thing that Chaucer did was to describe their attire, what they wore. And in literature, like I told you from the beginning of our class, a lot of things help you to characterize a person. The appearance helps. So by vivid or detailed description of the appearances, it helps you to know certain things about these people. Now, he symbolizes loyalty, practicality, and outdoor skills. The outdoor skills has to do with being a professional in forestry and sometimes going to play one or two games. But he's loyal to his master. And I think that is what should be. Sometimes when you have a servant that is not loyal to you, you stand a risk because you could be destroyed at any time. You could be killed at any time. Now, let's delve into the woman of the moment, the nun, a prioress. So a nun in today's world, like I mentioned one of our classes, is like a reverend sister who has dedicated her entire life to serve the Lord and the Holy Mary or the Mother of Jesus. Now, as someone who has devoted her time to serve God, such a person do not or are not moved by earthly things. They don't care about what they wear. They don't care about any other thing than to serve the Lord and to serve mankind. So if you understand it from this, background, then you understand the hypocrisy, you understand the irony in her lifestyle. Now, she isn't just a nun, but she is the prioress of the nuns, which means that she is the head of a convent, a place where nuns stay. A lot of them, like barracks, is for military men. So a convent is for nuns, and all the nuns there are under her authority. So she should live by example. Now let's try to get certain things about her. Refined and gentle in speech and manners. Okay, so that is what she's supposed to do. Then let me read from the original verse. It says that her way of smiling, very simple and coy. So coy here means that she could use her smile to get what she wants. Coy you into giving her or doing what you don't even want to do for her. A smile is infectious and could get attracted to do whatever you don't want to do. Her greatest oath, her greatest oath was only by St. Lloyd. Only by that. This is a prioress who is supposed to now take oath. And I think in today's world, today's Christian nun, I might not be so right because I do not have my fast check out on this. But the last time I checked, they after their ordination, you serve for some number of years, I think 5 years or 3 years. You take your first oath, you serve for another set of years, you take another oath, and I think your last oath you take, then you are dedicated to sisterhood or nunhood for the rest of your life. She took only one oath, so I don't even know how she became the head of the nuns. No wonder her smile is coy. She could make you do what you don't want to do. Her great then and she was known as Madame Englantine, not as a nun. She has an earthly name. She has a name that people call her. Some of these people just have a simple Christian name that they are called by, but she has a name, Madame Englantine, and while she stand a service with a fine painting through her nails, as was most seemingly, and she spoke daintily in French, extremely after the school. So she doesn't even speak a good French, but she still tried to speak it. Okay, now my interest about her is what I have on the slide here that says that she has a cap or she keeps pets. She has a pet, sorry, or she keeps pets and feeds them with meat, but horrified at dead mice. So I wrote into bracket there irony. If you feed your pets with meat, why then should you be scared when you see mice dead or when you see a dead animal? If an animal does not die, it does not become meat for you to feed your pets with. Basically, what Chaucer is trying to say is that she's fake, she's not real, she's pretentious. She pretends to be who or what she isn't or cannot be. Now, let me read a little. At meat her manners were well taught withal, no muzzle from her lips did she let fall, so conscious of herself, not of her service. So when she eats, she doesn't want the food to stain any part of her body, not even her lips. What, who or what is she keeping the lips for, you may ask? Nor dip her fingers in the sauce too deep. So she will eat and all her fingers, you wouldn't even know she has eaten because she doesn't want the sauce to even litter or dirty her fingers. So this is a non-prioress who is so much interested in the world and what to do to impress people than to serve the Lord or to fulfill her obligation. Now, but she could carry muzzle up and keep the smallest drop from falling on her breast. Her breast. And now who is interested in muzzles falling on her breast? I wouldn't say much about that. Now, for cuttiness, she had a special zest, and she would wipe her upper lip so clean that not a trace of grease was to be seen upon the cup when she had drunk. To eat, She reached a hand sedately for the meat. All that Chaucer is trying to say about this woman is that she's so much into the world and only thinks about impressing people, like I said earlier. Now, the interesting thing about her, to counterfeit a courtly kind of grace, a stately bearing fitting to her place. So counterfeit is fake. So just to live, she's just living a fake life. All right. Now, so I want you to hear this. She used to weep if she but saw a mouse caught in a trap. But if it were dead or bleeding, and she had little dogs she would be feeding with roasted flesh or milk or fine white bread. So, like I said, that's a fake life. So, in short, this lady isn't what she seems to be and doesn't do what she's expected to do. Now, coming to our society today, judge not. So I wouldn't judge anyone, neither am I righteous. But looking at it from a literary perspective, I think that there are still people like this non-pluralists who are called to serve but do not serve very well or properly. Now let's look at the monk, another very interesting character. So a monk is like a nun or the male version of a nun dedicated to serve the Lord. So, but this one rejects traditional monastic life, loves hunting, loves sports, and dresses well, wears expensive clothes. These are all things monks do not do. If you know a monk, they usually wear the same thing always. People give them used clothes, that's what they wear. But this one is the direct opposite of what a monk is expected to be. Owns well-fed horses and elegant attires. Now, most monks do not even have horses. Those that use, they walk a lot. Those that have horses, today I would say bikes, motorbikes or cars, they do not have it. Those that have are expected to be from donations. But this one, he doesn't just keep horses, he keeps well-fed horses and elegant, expensive, beautiful dresses or attires. He ignores monastery rules of prayer and study and lives a worldly, lavish lifestyle. This is very ironic because that's why I wrote there. Chaucer's tone is ironic and critical or sarcastic or satirical. So instead of going according to the rule of his calling, the monastic rule or the rule of monastery, he ignores that and lives a worldly lifestyle, dresses well, eats well, engages in sport. All these things are not expected of a monk to do. But trust me, that is all he does. Now, he is very cunning, very, very cunning. He was a fat and personable priest. His prominent eyeballs never seemed to settle. They glittered like a flame beneath a kettle. So this is a description of his personality. That's all he does. Now, closely associated with a nun, we have a friar. A friar is like a monk. They do the same thing, they perform the same roles in society. Now, let's look at this friar. He is jolly, he is merry, but morally corrupt. So, jolly, merry, having fun, living the best of his life. These are things he's not supposed to do. Morally corrupt. This is what he's supposed to be morally upright, but he's rather morally corrupt, and he's not supposed to be jolly and make merry, but that's what he does. He took bribes for confessions. Confession is supposed to be free from today, from the days of Adam up to today. It's supposed to be free. Confessions are expected to be free, but he takes money for confession. He takes bribe for confessions. Arrange marriages for women. He seduces, so he sleeps with women. Sorry, he's flirtatious. He flirts a lot. He sleeps around. So after having sex with a woman or after sleeping with a woman, then he will arrange marriage for you. Now, you might not understand the gravity of this if you are not into one, the roles played by friars, and two, the time that he lived where women are supposed to be chaste until they marry. Women do not usually marry, especially in the house of the Lord, after they have slept with someone else. So he takes the virginity, the pride of the woman, what the woman is supposed to present to the husband, then he will arrange marry for you. Because if you're a woman and you sleep with someone, no man will want to marry you. That's why he's cunning. Being cunning, I use cunning a lot today. Let me explain. Being cunning, I mean he's tricky. So after sleeping with the woman, he will trick a man to marry the woman. Then he frequently visits taverns and flirts with barmaids. A barmaid is like a whore, a prostitute. So he goes there. He even goes to taverns. A taverns is like a bar today. He goes to drink and sleeps with prostitutes over there, more concerned with profit than pity. Chaucer mocks his hypocrisy and greed. These are the two words that perfectly describes the friar to the core. He's a hypocrite and he's greedy, very greedy. If you read the real story, there were places that he earmarked that no other monk or friar is supposed to visit that place. He pretends to be visiting his clients, he pretends to be visiting his parishioners, but those that are poor, he doesn't care about them. He ignores them, he doesn't care about their upbringing, but those that are rich, he earmarked those people, and if he finds another one going there, another friar going there, you are in trouble with him. That's why he's a hypocrite and greedy. So that's the friar for you. Now, overall, what is Chaucer trying to present to us with this character? Chaucer uses humor, irony, and vivid, detailed descriptions to criticize religious hypocrisy, which I think people still hold opinion today that there's so much hypocrisy in the religious realm today. Praises true virtue, that's the knight, then criticizes fake ones are the non-prioress, the monk, and the friar. Challenges social norms and expectations and encourages readers to think critically about people in power. So till today, you have to still think critically about someone in power. They said if you want to know the true character or qualities of a man, give him power. Alright, so this brings us to the end of today's lesson. Quite a little bit longer than expected, but it's worth it. You get to understand character analysis and also why Chaucer did this. So in our next lesson, I'll pick one story in the Canterbury Tales and discuss it with you. Have a nice day. See you in the next class. Bye bye.